My wife was a kind-hearted, lovely soul. I've never met someone so fun-loving and responsible at the same time. She was the one to make our home lively and full of energy. I believe Lucille is in a better place now, watching over all of us. May she rest in peace. After the eulogy of his wife's funeral, Albert sat next to his daughter, Angela. She fiddled with her handkerchief anxiously. "It's going to be all right, Angel," he said, barely able to hold in the grief and sorrow himself. Albert wiped his tears. "You're the only memory of her I have now." "Keep it together, Albert. You have to be stronger than this." "I know what you're worried about. Angela is a strong young woman. Lucille has brought her up with good values and morals. Everything will be fine." "Dear, you have a long way to go. Your mother is not here, but you have to continue her legacy. You have no reason to feel lonely, child. Always remember, she's watching over you. Live a life that will make her proud." A woman walked up to Angela and patted her back. "Angela, if you ever think you need someone to talk to, you know your Aunt Mabel is here." After the funeral ceremony, Angela and her father returned home. Angela went to her room and called her boyfriend Johnny. She needed to get everything off her mind. "Hey, just got back from the funeral. How was it? Are you okay?" "It was awkward. All these relatives surrounding you, pressurizing you. I don't even know Aunt Mabel. This woman wouldn't stop talking to me. She was probably just trying to cheer you up. All I need is some time to myself, or maybe with you. Can you come over? Are you sure? What if we get caught?" "It's not like we're doing anything bad, Johnny. My dad's not going to know, and my mom, well, I don't have a mom anymore." "Hey, don't break down. I'll be there. Keep the window opened." Angela suddenly heard her door creak. She got a little nervous, assuming her father had overheard her. No, it was just the wind. At around 7, Angela went to check up on him. He was sitting in his armchair, looking through old albums. "Dad, you want to order food?" "That's all right, Angel. I'm not in the mood to eat. Why don't you order for yourself?" "It's okay. I'll just put together a PBJ." Angela didn't even bother turning on the lights. She took out the jar of jelly in the kitchen and placed it onto the counter as she pulled out the bread. She grabbed a plate and started making her sandwich. When she felt a cool touch on her shoulder. "Dad, you want me to make you one?" she said as she turned around. Angela suddenly froze. There was no one behind her, but Angela was sure she felt a touch. Unable to get rid of that strange feeling, she anxiously stuffed everything inside the fridge and hurried back to her room. As much as she tried to find a rational explanation to what she just experienced, she couldn't. Did things really happen like this? Could it be her mother's presence around her, watching over her? No, that's ridiculous. As she sat roaming in her thoughts, she heard a knock on her window. "Johnny, it's a good thing you came. I was starting to get spooked out by myself." "Why? What happened?" "Everybody at the funeral was saying my mother is still with me, watching over me. I thought I felt a hand touch me, and there was no one there." "Are you serious, Angela? Don't think about all those relatives. Come on, let's read a book." "Read a book? Don't tell me you joined some crazy club too." All right, we won't read a book. How about the latest version of BII Theft Auto and a load of candy until we have a sugar rush?" "Oh, you're so bad." After a fun night, Angela fell asleep really late. However, she woke up startled to the sound of the piano playing in the living room. She sat up a little uncomfortable. It was 5 a.m. This was the same melody her mother used to play. No, this wasn't happening again. Was Angela still dreaming? Hallucinating? She anxiously walked down the hall, peeking into the living room. "Angel, I was just not thinking about you. What happened? You don't look all right. Angela let out a deep breath. It was only her father playing the piano. It's nothing, Dad. I keep getting the strange feeling like Mom is still around. It happens when you lose a loved one, dear. It's the wish to fill in that empty space. No, Dad, this is different. Angel, it's the same for both you and me. I've been feeling the same way. It's just your mind that wants her to be around. But the truth is, she's not. But she's in a better place now, in heaven. Yes, Dad. Angela got herself prepared for school. She wore her stockings, her long skirt, buttoned up her shirt to the very top, and pulled her hair back into a pony. The way her mother dressed her when she was younger, the way her parents approved over all these years. Decent and modest. Angela grew up in a conservative family, and this was like second nature for her. She looked into the mirror for a while and sighed before she unbuttoned one of the buttons. Better. Angela swiftly turned, seeing the curtains move behind her. What was that? The windows were closed. Becoming anxious again, she hurried out to find Johnny waiting for her down the street. They walked to school together every morning, and he dropped her off every afternoon. What happened? You look like you've seen a ghost. That sugar was intense last night, wasn't it? It's not even a joke anymore, Johnny. I've been feeling strange ever since my mother passed away. It's freaking me out. You're probably just paranoid about getting caught. And at this point, so am I, 'cause I see your dad walking out on the lawn. Then what are you waiting for? Run, Johnny! When Angela returned home, she found her father cleaning up the house. She put down her bag and decided to help him out. She then went to her room and started her homework, but soon dozed off. It was some time later that Angela started to shiver in the cold. Too lazy to get up, she patted her bed for the blanket. Feeling a little lightheaded from the drowsiness, she kept tossing and turning until she suddenly felt a cool, relaxing stroke through her hair. At first, she thought she was dreaming, half asleep and half awake, until she came to her senses and jumped up, horrified by these shadows that spread across her room as the sun set outside. She turned on the light, paranoid like a little child as she looked around. Obviously, there was no one or no thing, but Angela started to believe, was it really her? Her mother? Not knowing what to do, she went to speak to her father. Sorry, sweetheart, dinner isn't ready yet. I honestly don't know what I cooked, so bear with me. It's alright, Dad, I wasn't hungry anyway. I just wanted to talk to you. Why do you have dark circles, Angel? You haven't been able to sleep, have you? I want to, Dad, but I can't. I told you already. I feel like Mom is here. It's not in my mind. I feel her touch. I see things move. I feel a presence around me and it's stressing me out, Dad. I want this to stop. Sweetheart, you're just missing her, and I'm missing her too. But we have to learn how to move on, Albert sighed. I know it's tough, but once you move on and get used to life without her, it will stop. Over the next week, Angela tried to rationalize every strange feeling and every bizarre experience she had. At best, it was a coincidence, she told herself. But deep down inside, she became all the more paranoid. The only moments of relief she had was with Johnny. If he didn't come over on those horrible nights, Angela didn't know how she would make it to morning. I'll see you tomorrow, okay, babe? I love you. I love you too, Johnny. I wish you could stay. It's like whenever you leave, I start imagining these things again. Like there's something here. Just close your eyes and try to relax. I gotta go, Angela. Angela laid down in bed. She had been sleeping with the lights on for the past few days. She tried telling her father, but of course he wouldn't listen. Angela knew he was probably right anyway. It was in her mind. She took in a deep breath and flipped off the switch and soon fell asleep. But it wasn't before long that Angela woke up anxious again. She was startled seeing something by the edge of her bed. Angela turned on her lamp. Her room was empty, but when she turned the light off again, she could clearly see this figure standing there. Her heartbeat started to race to the point she felt like it would leap out of her throat. She closed her eyes, trying to ignore what she saw, but every second in the room now petrified her. Angela couldn't take it anymore. She opened her eyes, seeing the figure approaching her. That's when she finally cried out, "Mom, no, forgive me. I know what I did was wrong. Forgive me, Mom." When Lucille and Albert found out they were to have a child, they were overjoyed. They were part of a conservative, pro-family group and were very religious. They believed and followed a traditional monogamous family lifestyle, and they dreamed of raising this child of theirs, teaching her about ethics and morally guiding her every step of the way. When their daughter was born, they named her Angela, knowing that their daughter would be as beautiful and modest, just like that of an angel. They brought her up with strict rules and regulations of what they approved and what they didn't approve. Belonging to a conservative pro-family group, they swore to protect their child from obscenity and exploitation. Both parents advocated virtuousness, decency, and modesty, and most importantly, abstinence. In this group, youngsters grew up imbued with a responsible attitude towards engaging with the opposite gender and its implications. They were taught to build a personal relationship with the Lord, who did not accept those who made themselves impure. Angela had grown up attending special abstinence education programs and weekend preachings with her parents. She was disciplined for the simplest things, like sitting down for dinner before saying her prayers, or going out with friends where there happened to also be boys, or sometimes even if she happened to speak with a boy in an overly friendly manner. Angela dear, you must save your body, and by doing so, you're saving your soul, because mating should only occur within the confines of marriage. You must keep your soul pure from all these filth. When Angela turned 13, she took her abstinence pledge at a grand gathering of like-minded people. Her mother celebrated the occasion. From this day forward, I, Angela Lavard, in the presence of all these witnesses, vow to choose abstinence, believing that true love will come one day. I make a commitment to the Lord, myself, and my future mate to remain pure until the day I enter marriage. What Lucille didn't realize was that she was imposing her way of life on her daughter. The parents were overly strict about their choices and beliefs. No, Angela, straight, your posture should be upright at all times. No, Angela, how ridiculous do you look? You can't wear this. Abstinence will make you stronger, Angela. Don't listen to others who say otherwise. In fact, it's easier than moderation. It's reasonable. It's the best way, and you, my child, must follow it. No, 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 Angela, no. Over the years, Angela started to get fed up with this strict lifestyle. She started to feel suffocated and began to let loose. All she wanted to do was lead a normal life like a normal teenager. That's when she met a boy named Johnny. They started to hang out and soon started to fall for each other, but Angela didn't want to go against her mother. And at the same time, she didn't want to live this kind of life she advocated. Mom, there's something I need to tell you. So Angela told her mother how she felt, but her mother didn't take it well. Angela, I am so disappointed with you. You didn't have to go behind my back. How could you do such a thing? This boy is not even worth your standards. How dare you come to this house? Do your parents teach you no shame, or do they have no shame themselves? Leave from here, and if I ever see you near my daughter again, how shameless this young man has to be to put his eyes on my daughter. Mom, don't speak to him like that. He's not what you're thinking. Lucille insulted her daughter's boyfriend harshly, so much so that a few neighbors had started looking. Angela was heartbroken. She really liked Johnny, and Johnny was a good guy. She wanted freedom from all of this, and deep down inside, she was enraged at her mother for how she treated him. And soon enough, she started to become rebellious and vengeful. Angela began tampering with her mother's medication that she took on a regular basis for her heart disease, slowly poisoning her and slowly killing her until one day, her mother collapsed to the floor, suffering a fatal stroke. Angela was heartbroken when her mother passed away. However, for the first time, she felt free. But was she really free? It was in the middle of the night that Albert heard his daughter scream, "Mom, no! Mom, no!" Albert was worried sick seeing his daughter senseless on the floor. Angela regained her consciousness some hours later to find her father beside her. "Angel, what happened to you? Are you okay? Did you see a bad dream?" "No, Dad. I'm okay. Everything will be fine now." Ever since that day, things suddenly became normal and Angela continued on with her life. "Angel, my dear, I called you here to speak to you about something." "What is it, Dad?" "Daughter, perhaps these are my last days with you. Once I'm gone, you'll be all alone. It's been long years since you've become free from your abstinence pledge. Will you not get married, start a new life, build a family?" "No, Dad, I've taken another pledge." "What is that, dear?" "I'll live the rest of my life in abstinence. I've taken the vow of celibacy." Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting. Avery Sanders lived by herself in a studio apartment in Queens, New York. After her mother passed away, she left her father to live with her grandparents. Until last year, she finally decided to move out on her own and came to the city. It had been years since Avery had last spoken to her father. She didn't like him, nor did she have respect for him, because she knew it was because of him that her mother wasn't alive today. Avery had awful childhood memories. She remembered her father being ill-tempered, rude, and often misbehaving with her mother. Avery remembered seeing her mother crying and looking at strange bruises in the mirror. Now when Avery looked back to that time, she could understand why her mother would drop her off at her grandparents' house so often, to keep her away from him. Things went on like this in the household until one horrible night. Avery couldn't sleep hearing all the screaming and yelling from her parents' room, furniture being thrown around, glass shattering on the floors, until everything fell silent with a heavy thud on the ground. Only 10 years old at the time, Avery was panicked. She sneaked down the hall, horrified to see her mother laying on the floor. She ran to the kitchen and hid in the pantry where she called the police. Her father was arrested and indicted for the crime. However, he was sent to rehab as doctors confirmed that the incident had occurred due to mental instability. Over these long 8 years growing up with two old grandparents who could barely do much for her, Avery learned to judge for herself. This was no accident. Her father was completely sane. It was that night, out of all the nights her mother had endured his harsh treatment, that she couldn't take it anymore. Back in Lancaster, Avery visited her mother's grave quite often, speaking to her grave, not knowing who else to speak to about what really happened that dreadful night. What were their parents fighting about? What had become so unbearable that her father had to do such a thing? Questions that will remain unanswered. Now living all the way in Queens, Avery had been trying to figure out how she was going to manage going to Lancaster for her mother's death anniversary this year. It was at a time like this that Avery got a visit from a stranger. She opened her door to a woman in her 30s, holding a package. "Hello?" "Hi, I was searching for Avery Sanders." I am Avery Sanders. And you are? Miranda Jackson. We don't know each other, but I've been searching for you for days now. I'd like to speak to you about something important. About what? The woman opened the package and took out a small clock that looked awfully familiar to Avery. Without a doubt, Avery took it in her hands and flipped it over to check the corner, where she saw the initials she wrote on them when she was a child. This must be yours. My mother gave this to me. How did you get this? I bought it at an antique shop, and it's ever since that I've been getting a strange feeling. What do you mean, strange feeling? I'm sorry, but this requires a bit of privacy. I can't discuss these matters with you out here. Avery invited the woman inside. They sat down at the table where the woman began explaining her unusual experience. I know this will be difficult for you to believe, but there are many kinds of people in this world, with many kinds of abilities. Of those people, I've had the fortune to experience something extraordinary myself. I'm sorry, I didn't get that. I have powers, psychic abilities, in other words. And it's since I've gotten this possession of yours that I've been feeling a presence, and every instinct of mine has directed me to you. What? You expect me to believe in supernatural powers? What is it, you can read my mind or something? What am I thinking? This is bogus. I expected that. Look, I have no reason to come here and help you, but I can sense that this presence is dangerous. It has the capability to harm. I only want to save you and perhaps others who might come in its way, like I myself have. Alright, okay, nostalgia got the best of me when I saw this, but I think you should go. I don't believe in these things. I know what happened to your mother, Avery. Avery suddenly froze looking at the woman. You've read the news. I'm being nothing but honest with you. I've gone through numerous articles to get to know about your family, but none of them quite exactly said how you used to hide in your closet when you would hear those screams in the Lancaster house. You would rewind this clock and hold patience, trying to block everything that was going on. Isn't it true, Avery? You used to hum along to the tune inside. This is what kept you solace through those frightening times. How do you know that? I have the ability to imprint off of objects and transcend into retrocognition. It's a psychic ability that allows me to see an event that has happened in the past whilst being present there in an astral body. It's like experiencing a sudden shift of time, getting moments to live the past once again. I don't know how far my abilities extend to. My mentor had once told me that there was much more to these powers that I have yet to discover. So, you've seen what happened to my mother? No. This is actually why I've come to you. This has never happened to me before. I've been trying to enter into the astral realm by imprinting off of this, but something keeps preventing me. Perhaps something that you can get past. How will I get past it? I'm an outsider, Avery, but you belong there. It was your house, accepting of you. Miranda picked up the clock and rewinded it. Through my abilities, I can allow you to experience retrocognition through a state of hypnosis. You'll be able to live those moments again through astral projection. You will see what happened from another perspective. This time, not as a victim, but as a witness. Avery could not comprehend what these abilities were or how they worked, but the eagerness to know what happened that night moved her to lend her hand forward. Miranda took Avery's hand and placed them onto the clock. Close your eyes. Try to imagine what happened that night. Try to place yourself there. You can hear the sound of my voice now, but it will soon start to fade. Focus on the sound of the clock, ticking, ticking, ticking. Be aware that the realm that you're traveling to is not your present, but the sound of this clock is. It will help lead you back to me. Avery suddenly started to shake. Miranda, I feel like I'm falling. I'm falling. Miranda! Miranda calmly advised, the transition from one body to another can be overwhelming. Try to relax and focus. Keep your mind clear. Avery was panicked. She felt like she was falling into an endless abyss, and the further she dropped down, the less she could hear Miranda. Remain headstrong, Avery. Remember your present soul is more powerful than your astral soul. Avery felt a sudden gush of wind, until everything took a sudden stop. She opened her eyes, shocked to see she was standing in front of her family home in Lancaster. But something was different. It was all now in a void. Everything around her, above her, under her, was nothing but pitch black. Trying to focus, Avery entered the house. It was dark and quiet. She walked down the hall, peering into her room. Her heart took a jolting shake as she saw her younger self through the openings in the closet. She was about to step inside when she suddenly heard something shatter from the other room, the noise that played in her head all these years after her mother's demise. This was indeed that night, that horrible night she passed away. Trembling, Avery stepped down the hall and peered into her parents' room. Her heart raced as she heard her mother scream out, stumbling to the ground, cowering. No, no, Aiden, this isn't you. You can't do this. Aiden, try to listen to my voice. Don't you realize what has happened to you? Avery held her mouth as she saw her father come into view through the crack of the door. He held her mother by her throat as she choked on her words. Aiden, look into my eyes. Think about our family, our daughter. I'm not your enemy, but it is. Don't listen to it, Aiden. Don't surrender to it. Avery furrowed her brows, seeing her mother trying to point at something behind her father. She widened her eyes, slowly creaking the door open to see something that she could have never imagined. As her father picked her mother up, Avery stared at this hideous, evil presence somehow latched onto him. What was this thing? Just as her father was about to throw her mother down, Avery couldn't take it anymore. She yelled out, "No! Dad! Don't do this!" But it was of no use. Avery was horrified seeing her mother lay on the floor, just like she did that night, 8 years ago. But all of a sudden, everything took a stop. The evil presence that hovered over her father suddenly turned its head, staring right at her. Avery took a step back, frightened to her core as it approached her. She had to get out of here. She ran towards the front door as that thing came at her, and without thinking, she opened the door and jumped into the void. Focus on the sound of the clock, ticking, ticking, ticking. Be aware that the realm that you are traveling to is not your present, but the sound of this clock is. It will help lead you back to me. Avery snapped back to her senses, trembling. She looked around to see she was in her apartment, sitting in front of Miranda. The time on the clock hit 12 as the cuckoo bird popped out. Avery held her head, feeling an uneasy pain. Are you okay? Miranda, I saw something otherworldly. What do you mean? I don't know. It was hideous, dark, hovering over my father when he took my mother's life. Miranda furrowed her brows upon hearing what Avery said. Avery, I don't have much knowledge on these things, but I've sensed something dark. Perhaps your mother's demise is not what it seems to be. Perhaps your father wasn't in control, but possessed, spellbound. There was something in that house, something that didn't want me there, that didn't want to disclose its existence to the outside world. Avery's head hurt tremendously. She got up feeling enraged. No, none of this can be true. I don't know how you did it, but this was nothing but a nightmare. Ridiculous. Miranda sighed as she picked up her things. If you ever think you need my help, call me. she said, placing her card on the table before she left. Avery locked her door and immediately went to lay down on her bed. She was feeling awfully stressed out and anxious. All that flashed before her eyes was that hideous presence she had encountered in that vision or dream, whatever that was. Avery tried to forget it and take a nap, but what she saw haunted her. Not being able to handle the anxiety, Avery booked a ticket to Lancaster the next day. However, when she got there, she was surprised to see the old family house unoccupied and locked up. Where was her father? Avery immediately went to her grandparents' home, where she learned that her father was doing much better. He had gotten the help he needed, and not wanting to live all alone in that house, he sold all the furniture, and it was just yesterday that he moved out and locked the place up. Oh, so that's how that woman must have bought the old clock, when Dad sold it off. Avery was able to get a pair of keys to the old house from her grandparents, with which she returned there. She walked around the room anxiously, checking her back ever so often. But there was obviously no one there but her. Avery started to sweat. She suddenly felt like all her life was being drained out of her ever since she saw that horrifying vision. What was happening to her? She went to the bathroom and ran the tap. As she waited for the water to clear out, she jumped, seeing something behind her in the reflection, something she recognized. She ran out to the living room full of dread. Was Miranda right? Was there truly something in this house? Had her father escaped the clutches of that presence only when he had left the house? Or had he been relieved of the burden when Avery brought it onto herself when she traveled back to that horrible night 8 years ago, yesterday? Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting. It's going to take forever to clean out this junk. I can't believe you just hoarded everything in here, Paul. You told me to put the things away. Yeah, I meant to take the things out of the boxes and put them where they belong. After 3 whole months, Stella had finally gotten a chance to finish unpacking all the extra boxes of junk the family brought along when they moved here to Culver City, California. She had been so busy with work. Correction, so busy being a professional gamer that she had put the hassle aside. But now with the holidays coming up, she thought she'd put some elbow grease into it and get the job done. Besides, her holiday lights were stuck somewhere in here, and hush hush, so was an old gaming set she was getting nostalgic about. Hey, what's this box? Does it even belong to us? It's labeled Thompson's. I don't know, don't ask me, I just want to chill. Then go upstairs, what are you doing here? I said I want to chill. Doesn't mean I am chillin'. I'm helping out. And how exactly are you helping out? By giving you company? Stella opened the box out of curiosity. A huge puff of dust blew onto her face. Wow, this stuff is old. She looked through some random household items inside and picked up a small framed picture of a family. The picture was black and white, and on the back, the printed label was dated to 1904. Looks like old memories. We should return them, don't you think? Huh, yeah. Like people have the time to go out of their way on an adventure to find the owner of a stupid photo frame they randomly found in their basement. And that too, for free. That takes too much time, effort, and money, baby. Just throw the stuff away, or put it out for charity. You can be so heartless sometimes. You know that, Paul? I'm not heartless. I just like to use the right organ to make decisions. My brain, not my heart. Where are we even going to find these people from? They're probably not even alive. About half an hour into cleaning, Stella had just about enough. Paul had ditched her after the first 5 minutes, which was expected. When she went upstairs, she found the kids jumping in joy in the living room. Aw, you guys miss me so much? What? Nope. Paul had gotten them a surprise gift, a laser tag set. I'm glad you two kids liked it, but no playing without me. Tomorrow we can play together, alright? Okay, Dad, you're the best. Stella watched her husband and her kids leave the place a mess before they headed off with their toys. You didn't have to leave all the packages on the floor, she said with a sigh. Mom, we would clean up, but then why are you here? Yeah, Mom, remember this picture? Wasn't this the day you came to work for Dad and us? You kids got that 100% right. Everyone loved the new house. There wasn't anything they could complain about. It was large, enough space for the kids to play outdoors, but the kids would have to play indoors till Paul got the lighting fixed out in the back. Stella even had her own gaming room now, where most of her day went by working. As soon as the kids got home from school the next day, they were on a rush to finish all their homework so that they would have free time when their dad came home. But it was sometime around 6 p.m. that they suddenly got surprised seeing all the lights in the house turn off one by one. Mom, why did the lights turn off? Mom, where are you? Anna and Luke walked down in the hallway to the gaming room. When they suddenly heard their mom shout out, "Heads up!" Stella pitched them the laser tag vest and blasters. It's game time. What? Now? But Dad said we had to wait for him. Oh, well, your dad can wait. You kids want to play with an amateur or a professional? Anna and Luke fist-pumped each other, put on their gear, and ran off. Get shot 10 times and you're out. I'm not gonna take it easy. That's not fair, Mom. Make it 15. All right, 15. Stella chuckled, putting on her vest. She took out the blaster, calling out, "Get ready, here I come." She hid in the shadows as she searched for Anna and Luke. But just a few minutes later, she was up and about, walking the halls. She couldn't seem to spot her kids. Suddenly, she heard Luke giggle and run off behind her. "Whoops, got you," Stella said, turning around, but Luke was long gone. After walking the whole second floor, Stella went downstairs a bit confused. Where did these kids go? Anna, are you there? Luke? Stella peered inside the playroom, expecting her kids to scare her like they always did. But no, they weren't there. When another 10 minutes had gone by, Stella started to become a little impatient. She quickly went down to the basement just in case. She doubted if the kids would be brave enough to hide down there just for a prank. And sure enough, the basement was locked. The house was eerily silent. After giving out many warnings to which she got no responses, Stella started to get worried. Returning to the living room, Stella called out to her kids again. "All right, Anna, Luke, the game is over. Come on out now." That's when she suddenly heard footsteps upstairs along with faint giggling noises, just as one of the bedroom doors shut closed. She shook her head, chuckling as she hurried upstairs. "What do you think you guys were doing? Do you know how worried you got me?" Stella opened the room, looking around. "Where are you kids hiding in here?" she said, checking under the bed. They weren't there, but Stella spotted their feet to the corner of the room in the shadows. "Got you," she said, standing up. But her kids stood there in the shadows. "Mom's not playing anymore. Come on, let's go downstairs." "Why did you do this to us, Mom?" "What?" "Remember what you did to us? We will never forget." Stella was a little confused hearing her children's voices. Something wasn't right. "Kids, let's go. Don't you want to play with Mommy?" Anna and Luke looked at each other confused. They followed their mother out the back door. "Mom, Where are we going? Luke asked as he rushed behind her. Mom, it's really hard to see out here. There are probably little insects and worms. Ew. Don't worry. Mommy's with you, love. Luke and Anna followed their mother into the old broken-down garage far out in the backyard. She ushered them inside. It was really dark in there. Anna and Luke started to get a little worried seeing their mother close the door, leaving them inside. Mom, why are you leaving us in here? Shh. Now you two little sweethearts will listen to Mommy, right? Mom, open the door. We're scared. Mom! Why is Mom behaving like that? What is she going to do to us? Help! Just then, the garage door swiftly opened, partially breaking apart. The kids were relieved to see their father and ran to hug him. What are you two doing here? In this garage? Mom brought us here. What? Why would she do that? Where is she? We don't know. Feeling something wasn't right, Paul took his kids inside in a hurry and went to search for Stella. Stella? Stella! He ran around the house looking into each room until he thought he heard a noise from one of the bedrooms upstairs. When he opened the door, he was nervous seeing Stella cowering on the floor. Stop! Stop! She said, choking on her words. Paul turned on the lights and rushed to his wife, who was holding her neck, gasping for breath. Stella, what happened? Stella got up, looking in the room. There was someone here. Are you sure? Yes, Paul. I thought it was the kids, but it was something else. Suddenly, seeing Anna and Luke by the doorway, Stella ran to them in relief. Kids, where were you? She cried. Where were we? Mom, what are you talking about? You took us out. You told us to stay in the garage. What? No. I was in the house the whole time. I was searching for you two. Paul and Stella immediately searched the entire property for an intruder. However, no one was found inside or outside. They installed a security system the very next day. Nobody really understood what happened that night or what could have happened if Paul didn't come home in time. At least, not until a few weeks later, when Stella was wrapping up on cleaning the last of the junk in the basement again. Hey, Mom, we thought it was you that night, but now that I'm looking at this, we saw someone wearing this dress. Yeah, you're right. I saw this dress too. We didn't really make out the face, but hearing her voice, we thought it was you. Stella looked at the picture from 1904, perhaps the first owners of the home. Stella and Paul tried to get information on the Thompsons' family. However, it was months later they stumbled over an article. March 15, 1905. The Thompson family kids were found lifeless in the backyard shed. Authorities have investigated the matter to find Mrs. Thompson, their mother, responsible for this heinous act. However, it was just this morning when police returned to arrest the woman that they found her in a dreadful condition inside her home. It seemed that she had taken her own life after ending the lives of her children. It was them. Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting.